She waited for my friend to fall asleep and she killed him. So I can say.
What's your name? We're outside Nassau County District Court where 22-year-old Kristen Scully was just arraigned before a judge. Scully pleaded not guilty to the murder of Bobby Carriger, who was found stabbed to death in his Massapequa home early Monday morning. It's not clear what their relationship was, but prosecutors say Carriger and Scully had spent several hours in his bedroom watching TV. At some point, she used a pocket knife that was in her purse and she stabbed him in the neck. Prosecutors believe she did this as he was asleep or falling asleep.
She's wearing a smiley face hoodie? Yo. This girl is sick.
And when the prosecutor described it in court, his family cried out loud as they described how he died. Police say Carriger was stabbed in his bed, but he managed to make it upstairs to the kitchen, screaming for help, where his parents found him. No comment from Scully's family, and Carriger's family too distraught to speak with us. We did speak with some of his friends, though.
Bobby was the greatest of all time. Bobby lit up any room he went into. He was the funniest person ever that ever lived.
She's been to his house multiple times. She was welcomed in by his family, and
the judge did not grant her bail, and her next court date is June 4th.
Yeah, you can't take this stuff lightly, man. Just having people in your home and just don't know what's wrong with people. Like, well, I know sin is the problem, evil in their heart. Obviously, there's something sick about this woman, you know. I mean, she's literally smiling and wearing a smiley face hoodie. You gotta be careful. Ladies and gentlemen, we gotta be careful. She stabbed him in his sleep. Yeah, I'm good on all of that. I feel bad, man. You know, seeing his friends out there crying and, you know, it's just tragic. You know, when you see these things, you know, to go out that way. You know, he passed away in his father's arms. Like, their lives will never be the same, and I you know, much condolences to them and their family. Wow.
This case is actually terrifying because this planned hookup between people that knew each other turned into him getting stabbed and his parents watching him die. This all happened yesterday, June 1st, 2000.
I think that was a picture of her. Let me bring my screen down so we can see it. Let me go back. Oh yeah, there it is.
And his parents watching him die. This all happened yesterday, June 1st, 2026 at around 1:30 a.m. in Long Island, New York at the victim's home. His name is Robert Carriger and he's 28, and the suspect's name is Kristen Scully and she's 22.
So young.
Reportedly, Kristen and Robert had known each other for a few years as friends or acquaintances, and Robert lived in a basement in his parents' home. They had been planning to meet up, so they actually met at a bar earlier that night, kind of hung out, and then they went back to Robert's place together and went into the basement to hook up. Some of the reports state that she snuck into the basement, but I think it's just the implication that his parents didn't know she was there and they had come home after the bar together. Now, Kristen has a history of mental health issues and she has had stays in psychiatric facilities, but Robert trusted her.
That explains it. I was looking at him like, man, something is empty. You can see it in her eyes. Yeah. Oof. People don't take their medication, man.
Because he knew her. He trusted that she was on top of her mental health and had been taking her meds. Police say that at some point during the night, and possibly after Robert was already asleep, Kristen became angry and she stabbed him. He suffered a sharp force injury to the neck and he screamed, crawled out of bed, and literally crawled up the stairs to where his parents were. His parents jumped in to try to help. They tried to stop the bleeding and his dad was holding him and his mom was watching while he took his last breath. When police responded, he was pronounced at the scene, and Kristen was actually found hiding in the basement downstairs. She has been arrested and charged with second-degree murder. She has pleaded not guilty, and there have been reports that she was actually smiling and smirking in court.
She need her behind whipped, if we're being honest. Like, not just being locked up, but she need her behind tore up. God be with his family and friends. That's such a cold way to go out, man. And I also wouldn't want to meet God on those terms either. You got some random, well, not necessarily random, but some hookup shorty in your bed, and she takes you out because she's crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not safe to just be laying around with any and everybody. If you know people on medication, you got to be careful. Got to be careful. And it's not, I'm not just saying this to y'all. I'm saying it to myself. Because I was just telling, I always say that I was just telling, but I literally be having these conversations. I was telling my buddy, I'm like, man, it's a lot of people on medication. They don't talk about it. But if you're dating, you need to be asking people, are they on any kind of psych meds? Any kind, antidepressants. Like, find out what type of medication people are, if they're on any. Find out. Because God forbid you're in a situation to where you're comfortable with someone, you're cool with them, you've been knowing them for a while, and you're not, you let your guards down and hanging out, and boom, they have an episode on you. There's nothing you can do about it. Absolutely nothing you can do about it. But you can't, in terms of like them having an episode on your watch. But the last thing you should want to do is go to sleep around somebody who's probably hearing voices, talking about how somebody told her to harm herself or to harm others. I wouldn't be going to bed next to somebody like that. I remember, and you don't know these things unless you ask. So I was dating someone back in, man, what year was that? That had to be around 2017, maybe? Yeah, somewhere around there. 2016, 2017, right? And I never forget, I asked her because we were having conversations, and I'll share things, and she'll say something, and I'll be like, how did you get that from what I said? And she'll be like, that's just how I understood it. And in my mind, it's like, there's no way you can get that from what I said unless something's wrong. Because the processing of what I said you processing what I said shouldn't be that way. So I remember I built up the nerves to ask her, I said, hey, are you on any type of medication? And she said, yeah, I've been on meds since I was a kid. You gotta ask the questions, people. You gotta ask the questions. You thinking that, people are on medication just because they're having loud outbursts and, going crazy, saying crazy things, trying to harm themselves, when in reality, people are on medication for all types of reasons. And if you're not careful, you'll be out there trying to do life or have an understanding relationship and open communication with someone who can't understand you, literally because they're on meds, because they're mentally challenged. And I don't mean like remedial or anything like that, but I just mean that they're having issues mentally. Having, people who are recovering from mental breakdowns. Like, once I found out about the meds, I also found out that she had like a mental breakdown, that essentially, she had lost her mind at one point in time. And the only reason I know is because I asked. But still, she still was a kind woman, but it's not, that wasn't something I was willing to, risk, but gotta ask the question. It's not safe out here. So make sure you ask and make sure you do your due diligence and be careful. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Don't forget to connect with the brand here online at www.there'shopebrand.com. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.